Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. We are playing another game with Team Primal. Their opposing team, I believe, is called Team Soso. I know at least that one player on the team is called Soso. So I shall probably refer to them as Team Soso. And on Team Soso, we have Tillin, Vespillow on Mercy, Thundercats playing Reinhardt, Turtle playing Zenyatta. Oh, very interesting. This should be exciting. Soso playing Pharah, and Nuka as Winston. And they are currently on offense, so they are ready to push in. And we shall see their play style in a moment. They are electing to hang around this corner, mainly due to the fact that Team Primal is pushing forward. So, wow. Crash is getting in there, trying to see if he can get anything happening. Team Primal, for the most part, is hanging back. Crash managing to escape. For the most part, both teams are pretty locked down at the moment. I do see that Nuka as Winston is flanking, but there's not really anywhere for him to flank to. And here comes the push. It is, wow, it is a very quick push. Soso as Pharah is jumping in there, trying to get some work done, trying to finish off some enemies, and successfully doing so, though her work was, looks like, countered by a wolf ult. But they definitely, Team Soso has managed to take control of this point and are almost certainly going to capture it and move forward. That was very fast. Wow, they pretty much had one sustained push. I am curious how the Odd Turtle. Okay, I'm curious how the Odd Turtle as Zenyatta is panning out. I don't see Zenyatta that much, but wow, Team Soso has almost all their ults ready. And it looks like the Zenyatta is holding back, and he's doing a pretty good job of spreading the teams and the damage out. I'm just pretty excited. I don't see Zenyatas that often. And Zenyatas are pretty great, because if the Mercy is prepared to focus mainly on healing, he can give his Harmony Orb to Mercy and just give her dedicated healing and spread it around. He's quite fascinating, and we may be seeing some ults soon. Almost every person on the field has ult right now. This is going to be quite an interesting push when it finally happens, and I want to be spectating one of the medics when it finally goes down. Oh dear, glad I wasn't spectating that one. Good revive on that part, but too little, too late for the offense. A bunch of their teams are down, and it looks like for the most part, the defense was able to hold that point really without even spending most of their ults. And here we have a flank. Oh dear. And the offense is pushing around the side here. Very interesting. They are going to come head to head in an odd location, or they're going to funnel in to the ordinary place, and we're going to get right back on the payload, not waste any time. They were able to make some serious headway on capturing that first control point, but they have had significantly less luck. I'm a little surprised that Junkrat held on to that Riptire as long as he did. He had a pretty solid opportunity to deal some serious damage. And while that was still a pretty decent rocket barrage, it was mostly countered by Zenyatta's. I'm not even sure what it's called. I see Zenyatta, his pass into the Iris. Defense is pushing forward. It appears that Team Soso is having a much more difficult time pushing through this corridor than they did capturing the first point. Maybe Team Primal figured out what was up and solved their problem. But Thundercats is now pushing in, interested in getting some time on this payload, pushing it forward a little bit. And for the most part, they seem to be doing just that. They didn't... Wow, they got a pretty decent amount of kills and are now pushing the payload successfully through. That was a very good push. So not only do they have the positional advantage, they have a bunch of ults ready. Wolf, the Mercy on Team Primal, does not have her ult prepared, so every kill stays that way for the time being, though. Oh, here we go. Thrakon not interested in any of that, getting a couple of kills. Mercy is still alive and has a chance to counteract the damage, but it looks like instead she's electing to attempt to retreat and die. So it looks like for the most part, Zenyatta was the only real character to get out of that fight alive, though I see Pharah is flanking around the side. Interesting if she's going to try something while she's up there. She doesn't have ult, though she's going to if she can keep landing these. Wow. A lot of damage coming from Pharah in this particular attack. I'm curious to see if she's going to use her ult to soften up the enemy team. Yes, there we go. Though her efforts were completely countered by Mercy. And here comes a Riptire. Oh, the Riptire. So here's the thing. Zenyatta was healing. But healing doesn't help when you have such a single high damage attack like the Riptire. So the Riptire did a much better job than Pharah of punching through Zenyatta's Iris and getting the kills anyway. I believe possibly even Zenyatta himself was not able to survive that defensive retaliation because the offensive team is mostly looking like they are respawning at the same time, and they are going to push back in through this choke point and give it another go. They are countered by Gojiro's ultimate, followed by Pharah's ultimate. They are just getting pushed back. Wow, the defense is just downright cutthroat at this point. They are not interested in giving up any space. They lost Gojiro as Lucio, so they are a man down, but they definitely have the spam to not care about that. Joker Junkrat is just keeping as much spam as possible through the only door that the offense is taking. There are flanks, but they are pretty much not being used. And here he decides to pull off a Junkrat. Let's see what happens with this. I don't think it's going to be able to go off, but I was mistaken. And it looks like Mercy was just waiting for that Riptire to go off so that she can bring her teammates back to life. And it looks like momentum is swaying onto the offensive side right now. Though, oh, there we go. A couple of clutch revives from Wolf, bringing a couple defenders back. And like I mentioned, Primal is very good at having just a few teammates awake, and by awake I mean alive, and just stopping the offending team from pushing forward. They just have nowhere to go at the moment, and they are down, but there's nobody on the payload because they've got to run over to it, and there was enough time. So Reaper and Gojiro as Lucio were able to get their defense back up in time and allow only a little bit of a push, and the game is almost over. There's only 17 seconds left on the clock. Both teams going nuts. Both Reinhardts mashing into each other. Theod Turtle going in. And it looks like they're going to be able to capture the control point and add 2 minutes onto their time. But they lost all the time. It went into overtime, and they have only 2 minutes to get through an extremely difficult choke. They're going to have to do what they did on the checkpoint, which is just one try, just push right through. Because I mean, okay, to be fair, they do probably have at least 2 pushes in there, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that. And here we go. We've got Pharah's ult. Reaper has ult and is going in there. I'm curious to see whether he's going to use it. Not able to use that. But look at how far back they've managed to push the offense. Pharah's ult was more than enough to keep the enemy team at bay. And now Junkrat is ready to just keep laying down the spam, and that was 1 of their minutes almost gone. They only are going to have really 1 more, maybe 2, but I'm not feeling it. To get that to happen again, a Junkrat Riptire immediately destroyed. Very good counter ult by Zarya, and Wolf bringing some deceased teammates back to life, only for them to be eliminated again. And Junkrat is one of the only real defenders up at the moment. I see that Crash is awake as well, but he is respawning? No, he is behind them. And he better get in there because they are just pushing through, and there's not that much stopping them. I'm not sure. The defense was doing a very good job, but they seem to respawn relatively slow, and it looks like Lickitung has dropped. So the defense is down to 5 players, and the payload is going to effortlessly push down. That was very close, and they were able to capture, though they did use up almost all of their time, which was, you know, that's a pretty stellar defense considering how quickly they lost the first control point. That was a very good ult there by Crash, and in general it kind of summed up the defense in its entirety. I feel like the defense actually had control of the map for most of the time. I mean, at the very beginning of the game, offense just plowed through them and took the first control point, and then at the end there they kind of fell apart, though losing a teammate will do that. And I'm curious to see whether we play a second game, because Lickitung has dropped, so we might replace Team Primal might replace him with somebody else, but for the time being it is 6 on 5, and I'm sure both teams are not interested in playing. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are playing the remaining map in King's Row with the team switching sides. Team Soso is going to be defending this time, and it looks like they are going with a Torbjorn and a Symmetra. That should be very interesting. A lot of turrets for the offending team to deal with. I am very interested to see how this pans out. Soso is on Junkrat, so when they're not being assaulted by sentries, they can get grenades raining on them from the sky. And the team ready to face a barrage of sentries and grenades are Team Primal, as always. Looks like almost everyone playing the characters they normally play on offense for King's Row. Crash is giving McCree a go. That should be interesting. I'm interested in see White Hat McCree. One of the nicest looking McCree skins, if you want my opinion. And I see that Symmetra already has a bunch of sentries set up. Anybody who wants to push through this control point is going to enjoy a bunch of damage from these little nitty sentries everywhere. Soldier 76 not wasting any time and flanking around the back, getting some damage down before they notice him. And in general, Team Primal seems to be doing a pretty good job of taking control of this statue area. Team Soso, for their part, has really split themselves up a lot and are all over the place. And it looks like things are going pretty well for them. Good kills there by Soldier 76. Symmetra's teleporters are everywhere, but notably, a bunch of them are in this room, and they are completely ignoring this room. So they aren't really doing anything whatsoever. And though Gajiro is not interested in that car sentry, and they are going to get some capture time on the clock. I see Soso as Junkrat is in an unusual position. See where he is, trying to get some work done behind enemy lines, and wow, eliminating the medic eliminating the Mercy and McCree, who was about to high noon. That was a pretty effective play by Soso the Junkrat, and it pretty much spoiled that push. So defense is going to continue. Torbjorn's turret was taken out, and he is going to rebuild it, the Thundercat sentry. And offense is fully respawned, going to give this another go with Gajiro taking the lead. We are going to move in, try to get some work done. But there are so many sentries everywhere, and I see Junkrat flanking around the back. Though his Riptire was destroyed by Soldier 76, and Gajiro, oh no. Well, Gojiro attempted to ult, was countered. I guess he's just lucky he didn't lose his entire charge and got to remain at 86%. And a couple of kills getting traded, but for the most part, Tai is going to the defense. And just as I said that, Wolf brings her team back to life at the cost of her own, and somebody's ulting. There's only one McCree on the field, so there's not a lot of candidates for who that could possibly be. Unfortunately, it was not a Lucio boosted McCree, so he didn't really get anything done with it. Roadhog going with a crazy spam attack right there. Very good. And wow, Gojiro shows the other Roadhog how it's done. Oh dear, I don't think Crash was able to... Oh yes, Crash did manage to finish off the Junkrat, which is a big deal. But I don't know if these kills are coming in fast enough. There are just so many people on the point. Symmetra trying to attack the enemy medic and succeeding. A lot of... Oh dear. And Thrakon as Reinhardt avenging his fallen Mercy. And there are some good revives bringing people back into the fight. This particular fight is just completely everywhere. But I believe for once this fight is going south for the defenders. It looks like Team Primal is going to be able to get some solid capture time. And there we go. And McCree and Soldier 76. I don't think they're going to be able to capture, but they're going to get very close. Mercy pushing in there to try and stop. Soso has switched to Tracer. Interesting to see what is going to happen with that. And that is a capture. So Team Primal has managed to take the control point. They are going to be moving this payload down and through this checkpoint back here. Very good plays on their part. That was a very tumultuous, very chaotic mid-fight that really wasn't quite as controlled as when Team Soso did it. So they definitely are at a time loss at the moment in that they are not moving as quickly as their teammates. But if they can keep things moving at a steady pace, they can still win pretty handily. They're getting some decent kills, and I believe advantage goes to them right now. Roadhog just churning out those ults for Team Primal, but Heisen almost escaped, but Roadhog and Reinhardt were not interested in that happening, though it did cause them to be a little bit out of position. Thundercats has switched off of Torbjorn and is now playing as Soldier 76, going to give his team a little bit of healing and support. See that Wolf has ult, so even if this goes very poorly, Team Primal has a revive, a free revive in that Wolf is alive, and if she uses it, that should give her team a pretty healthy amount of time to get some kills and win this fight, but they are choosing to hold on to it. And now the enemy medic Vespio for Team Soso is going to have his ult ready, and I want to see High Noon choosing to cancel the High Noon and hold on to it for later. It's going to have it very soon, so we should be seeing a High Noon any second now, to be honest, with this many characters and damage for McCree to fill out. Gonna be interesting. Oh, a very nice headshot. And I'm going to stay on McCree because I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing a High Noon really soon. I say this, and he did get a stun mine out, though, and in general, his team is going to make use of Lucio to finish off the Pharah. Oh, very important revive happening right there. Canceling once again. There was nobody to kill for that one. So we're going to see a High Noon probably sometime soon, and I'm going to spectate it if I can because I want to see some cool High Noon action. It's one of the best ults. Soso dealing some damage but not getting any kills with that Tracer mine. And for the most part, control of the payload does go to defense, and the payload will be moving backwards. The Crash is going to fix that temporarily, probably at the cost of his life. He is very, very far ahead of his team, Definitely no chance for anyone to support or heal him with him that far ahead. But now here come the rest of his team to try and capitalize on the opening. And a good job happening from the teams right now. Both Mercy still have their ults holding, so even if a big play happens, we could be seeing a couple tag team pushes right now. Pharah getting some mad work done, and there are a lot of ults prepared on the field at the moment. Starting with Pharah is going to lead off and get a bunch of damage, not really a bunch of kills. Actually, almost everybody else on the team got killed by somebody. So that probably wasn't as effective as they were hoping. And time is running out, and I don't think there's anybody. No, this cart is just here, and everybody is so far away from it that that's going to be game. And so Team Soso able to hold the point. Held the first checkpoint. The payload did not even reach the end. I do remember that ult. That was a very powerful ult, bringing her entire team back and really contributing a lot to the final capture. Wolf making fun of himself in the chat. That was a very good game. I'm interested to see if we move on to a new map. I saw Hollywood popping up for a second. I would not be surprised if these two teams wanted to skirmish on Hollywood. But either way, we should be seeing a team. Should be seeing a team fight soon. If we do, I will be shoutcasting it. And it does look like Team Primal is going to be on defense first, and Team Soso is going to push through and try to capture. Very exciting. I do not know how that popcorn got there. Gojiro, as is standard for Team Primal on Hollywood, is electing to run the Symmetra play. Symmetra is a very powerful character on this first map, on this first control point. I note that Gojiro usually goes for the Archway of Death, and that does appear to be what is happening this time around. Assisting Symmetra is Mercy in support, and then 3 offense and 1 tank. So a lot of DPS, not a lot of health, but that's okay, because what usually happens is these players, they keep dying. However, Symmetra's teleporter is constantly up and bringing them back to life. So it's okay that they keep dying, because Symmetra is able to return them back. And that's, honestly, that's part of why she's in support. A lot of people wonder why she's not in defense. And it's because she's also capable of bringing fully healed players back to the battlefield. It just takes a couple seconds because of respawn. Very interesting. On the other side, looks like they are also going for DPS over health. 1 tank, 2 supports, and 3 offense, and one of those supports is Zenyatta. That has been interesting. I won't say it's not working, but I will say it's interesting. So I'm interested to see how Zenyatta plays out. I'm sure that the heals are being played very well, and it is very well spread off. And it looks like, for the most part, Team Soso is hiding here in this little cubby. And they are mostly hanging back. He did manage to get a Discord orb out, but there's not really any way to get in there. So, for the most part, both teams are fighting to a standstill here in the corner. That's pretty standard. A couple of teams, I see teams sometimes take this flank over here, but it has a very low success rate because the defense is going to see you coming. There really is no better option than just funneling right through the front. Oh, a very good revive from Vespio as Mercy, possibly Vespilo. And, ooh, Tillin as McCree, not getting any kills, unfortunately. But he did spend his high noon on that, and they are getting some capture time, and they are passing into the Iris. But there are still there's still defenders on the point stopping them. though they were able to find and destroy the teleporter, which was hidden back behind my camera at the moment. And Soso as Farah getting a double kill, and we are now getting some capture time on the point, stopped by Heisen as Soldier 76. Wolf managed to get in there and survive with just a sliver of health left, and that is a failed push. Wow. Excellent job by Primal of stopping that capture, because they definitely lost the advantage a few times, but they were able to pull it back. So very good job on their part. Symmetra is rebuilding her defenses. It's pretty common for Symmetra to put her turrets into these trees, but Symmetra is actually resetting up her Archway of Death, which is allowing her to build ult very fast. And now we are building up the trees for everybody else. I want to see how the Reinhardt on their side is doing. He is holding out the defense. His shield is not looking peachy, but he is still alive, and he uses his thing to escape because he does not want to die just yet. Wants to regroup with his team so they can push back through. And I see a high noon from McCree. 2 very nice kills, removing the opposing McCree and Vespilo the medic, stopping her ult regen. Not that it matters, she already has ult. Both Mercies have ult, and at this point the defense is pushing forward and the offense is mostly holding back. I think the offense is having trouble figuring out what they should do. Now they are attempting to push through this choke point. I'll be interested to see if that works out for them. Tillin is going for a high noon, and he could get a lot of kills with that. Wow. Reinhardt on Team Primal drops his shield at the worst possible moment, and Tillin just finishes him and Gojiro off with high noon. And then Mercy brings all of her dead teammates back to life, and they are not going to be able to get that cap. The defense is out thanks to Symmetra's teleporter, and that is the sheer power of the teleporter. There was so much going the way of Team Soso, and yet that teleporter just brought everybody back to life, and that's why she's in the support category, if you ask me, because that is the work of a support. It's not healing in a traditional sense, but it really did bring fully healed players back onto the battlefield. So the teams are going to hit head-to-head, and time is running out. There are only 40 seconds left. I can only imagine 1, maybe 2 pushes in there. The defense has sentries everywhere. The teleporter is up. Offense knows that they need to get in there, and this is going to be the push. I see that Soso has her ultimate ready and is going to push it, and Wolf does not have ult ready. None of these players on the defensive team are going to come back to life until Wolf manages to get her ult. And she is down. Wolf is dead, and the capture point is a sliver away from being captured. There are 5 seconds left on the clock. Where is the red team? The teleporter, it brought just enough people back to life to contest this point capture, and it was not enough. The point was captured, but they only have 3 minutes to push through this choke point, through the entire western section, and the defense is ready and waiting. Gojiro is not spawned. I have a feeling he's not going to spawn as Symmetra, but we will see. The Team Soso is pushing through this point, and Gojiro has gone Lucio, so there'll be a lot more health coming. Soso kind of heckling the enemy team, making them focus on her instead of focusing on the payload, letting them push the payload quite easily. And it seems to be working pretty well. They are focusing so much attention on Soso. 3 whole teammates bothering entirely with Soso, and this payload is just strolling through completely unblocked. Thundercats as Winston getting in there, getting some serious work done, and sees the enemy Mercy, wants her dead, going to succeed at that. And wow, I said they needed to push this payload quickly. They're pushing this payload extremely quickly. They are just a few feet away from managing to get it into the control point. Winston has his ult prepared. The defense is back, and it looked like Winston was regrouping with his team. He's pretty low at health, but he did manage to survive a full respawn, And they have 1 minute and 30 seconds to push the payload the remaining bit of the way. The payload is moving backwards, and the defense is ready. And, oh dear, somebody dropped. Looks like Lickitung again has dropped out of the match. I'm not sure what this is going to mean, if this means they're going to keep playing or not. Looks like they may call the game due to the fact that one player has been dropped. Very good play on both teams. For what it's worth, despite only having 5 players, Team Primal is not giving up this control point easily, though they are giving it up slowly but surely. Not that they can be blamed. Oh, there we go. An excellent revive to keep this going, and Gojiro has stated no. They want to keep playing. Lickitung just has to reconnect, or possibly somebody else. Mercy for Team Soso with a nice revive, bringing a couple people back, and ult advantage definitely goes to Team Soso at the moment. They have Tillin and the Odd Turtle both ready to ult. On the other side, Gojiro does have his 100% Lucio ult ready, so he will be able to heal his team with that. I get the feeling Tillin is going to be doing a high noon soon, so we're going to follow him and see if that ends up happening. For what it's worth, both teams are moving into this elbow joint inside the sound stages, and Tillin is just trying to get some work done on that Reinhardt shield, try to break it, and here we go, a high noon. If that shield can go down, and that was it. He manages to high noon the enemy McCree, and they are just plowing through the defense, but the defense is going to have time to respawn, especially with Gojiro constantly halting the payload from moving forward, doing in true Lucio fashion, keeping himself alive a ridiculous amount of time, more than long enough for his team to get back to life and start stopping that payload push, but not for very long. Team Soso is pushing pretty much effortlessly, and Gojiro is not able to get there fast enough to contest the point. They push it right onto the end, and that is game. Team Soso managing to push the cart through. To be fair, Team Primal only had 5 players, but they wanted to play this game through in its entirety. Wow. No wonder they were able to clean through that quickly. Soso just eliminating all the defense, getting all those killing blows, assisting in the eliminations. Very good job on her part. And when there's only 5 players on one team, a 5 kill is a team wipe. So, I am not sure if they are going to play the other half. Lickitung's internet went out, which was why that ended up happening. So there's not really anything to conclude from that particular match, because one team was operating at only 5 players, so it was a good friendly. A bunch of players did a good job, and it looks like we are going to pause the game for the time being, so I hope you enjoyed that game. There might be more later tonight, and if there is, I will be there shoutcasting it. Have a very good night. I'm Aabicus, and I will see you soon.
Thank you for your acting ability. Let's get moving.